You guys, Mariners fans, are really the best. I thank you for always supporting us throughout the whole year. Thank you for relieving us. I know we fell short last year, but you guys still believing in us, and we're here right now. We're gonna go to the postseason. We're gonna have all of you guys in our heart, and we're gonna give our best for this city and every single one of you guys. Let's keep on going. See us rise. Let's go!
It's an emergency podcast coming at you live from the Monday Mojo Sports Desk. I'm Max Schwabe. I'm here with Chris Zweifel and Chris Sobba. If you're listening to this when we hope you listen to it, it's Friday morning, and it's the first day that the Mariners have ever seen playoff baseball in 21 goddamn years. The game's at 1 p.m. Pacific. I don't know if you're planning on working, but I personally am planning on playing hooky and leaving at noon to go fraternize with my fellow Mariner fans. And I hope you all have the chance to do it too. London, if you're listening in London, I hope you have a fantastic evening watching this goddamn baseball game. Anywhere else in the world, just find a way to watch it because this shit is about to go down. Mariners in the playoffs. Very glad to be with you, and thank you for listening. We have a relatively short episode today. All three of us have three keys to the game in order to win the series. I didn't say that right, but you know what I mean. And we'd love your feedback in the comments, wherever you can find us. Give us your take on it. But we've got three keys to the series. Sobba, I want to hear yours. I'm very desperate to hear yours.
All right. Well, let's start with this. Let's set the stage for the last time that the Mariners made the playoffs. You know, there are a few things in the world have changed since then. The iPod, when the Mariners last made the playoffs, that hadn't been released yet. Twitter, Facebook, those haven't been invented yet. Julio, he was out of the womb for less than 1 year. He was less than a year old. Albert Pujols was in his rookie season, which those two in general, Julio and Pujols, Julio being less than a year and Pujols being in the league and still in the league today. That's fucking crazy in itself.
That is insane.
Number one song in the USA was Fallen by the beautiful voice of Alicia Keys in the number one movie in the US of A, Denzel Washington's Training Day. A lot has changed since the last time the Mariners were in the playoffs, but it's 2022, ladies and gentlemen, and they're back. They're back, and as Scott Service said, we're just getting started. We had our party a couple Fridays ago. We did, but the prize is still the same, and they ain't just gunning to end the drought. You know that put a check mark next to that box. That's been completed.
Right. A
few more boxes we got up here. Get a game back in Seattle, number one, number two, and then number three. Get that trophy into Seattle for the first time ever. Get there. Get maybe not even the trophy. Just get to the World Series for the first time ever. Then bring her home. But I'm excited. I can't fucking wait, man. I'm not playing hooky tomorrow. I'm not playing hooky. I actually just told my boss about an hour and a half ago, if I asked if I could have the day off, and he knew exactly why I was asking. He's like, "Yep, no problem, my guy. No problem." I was like, "All right."
I'm certain that if I were to tell my manager, well, actually my manager's out tomorrow. So
there you go. I do have to
get some shit done, and then
I got to call myself out. I'm an asshole because I'm not 30,000 feet above the air right now. I'm not on my way to Toronto. So many moving parts. I couldn't make it. I know on the last episode I was just raving about how I'm going to be there, how Max and I made a pact back in high school. Max, if he wants to comment and his not honoring the pact, he can comment on it.
Yeah, Max put a kibosh on that, man.
Max put a kibosh on that.
The thing is back in high school, I thought the Mariners wouldn't make it until I was filthy rich, and I'm on that track, but I'm not yet there. So flights to Toronto last minute,
dude, they were like 2,000 plus.
Yeah, it was a pretty penny.
It was ridiculous. Yeah. And then I was trying to do some workarounds, maybe go from Washington, take a Greyhound bus to Vancouver, take a plane from Vancouver to Toronto. But then with the announcement of the 1:07 start time on Pacific time, the logistics simply just didn't work out. I would have been in the air when the game was going on, and that's just not an option. But here we are. So we're going to be in Seattle. Max and I are going to be going to the dock. If any of you guys are listening and want to go to the dock, we're going to have a big crew watching the game there. That'll be fun. Zweifel.
That's a sports bar called the Dock in Fremont. So a little plug for the Dock. Maybe they'll get some extra revenue because of Monday Mojo.
Yeah, maybe.
But Max, you wanted to hear my 3 keys to the game.
Please.
To the series.
Yeah. Thanks, Zweifel. Scoring in the first inning. We have to score in the first inning, get ahead of the, get to that pitcher, Alek Manoah. We have to get to him early. We can't let him get in the groove. And if we can get ahead early, that's just going to go into my second key of, I know it's the series, but this is going to be for game 1. It's, Luis Castillo has got to be on his A game. Okay. The last time that the Mariners played in Toronto, we lost the first 2 games, then we won the last. We did not have Luis Castillo on the roster yet. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say the same thing for, we'll do a 2B key to the series. It's Robbie Ray. Same thing. He's going to be pitching the second game. He's got to be on his A game. Ray did not travel with us last time we went to Toronto. Toronto has a heavy right-handed lineup. Bo Bichette, Vlad Guerrero, they got a pretty damn good lineup.
Springer
and Robbie Ray being a lefty. I was, wondering if we were going to go with Gilbert for that second game because that righty matchup is, the numbers, as the Mariners love to do, they go by the numbers. However, we signed Robbie Ray for this reason, to pitch in a high leverage playoff game. Scott trusts him to go out there and get it done. And so Robbie Ray, Luis Castillo, they've got to be on their A games. And my last key to the game to the series is we're going to need a bench player, a low name person to step up. Maybe Cade Marlowe. He's traveling with the team on the taxi squad. He's not made his MLB debut. And as if
I'm counting on Cade Marlowe,
let me finish. As I've said plenty of times on this podcast before, baseball is romantic. It's poetic. And Cade Marlowe, if he plays in this series, his MLB debut is going to be in a playoff game. The first playoff game for the Mariners in over 20 years. So that's where, baseball's poetic. It's romantic. Something crazy could happen. I'm not saying Cade Marlowe be that guy. I'm not saying it's going to be him, but a Cade Marlowe, an Abraham Toro, a Dylan Moore. I would have definitely said a Sam Haggerty, and damn it, that sucks. Sucks not having Sam Haggerty because I was so excited. I've said this before on the show. I was so excited to see how Scott would use Sam Haggerty in a playoff situation, and damn it sucks we're not going to be able to see that.
And maybe this is a good something to talk about. Who are we playing without for this series? And when we look at someone like Sam Haggerty, how much longer is he on the IL?
His season's probably done. 6 to 8 weeks puts him out for it was a groin issue or something like that, and so it puts him out. Jesse Winker, he went on the IL with a neck issue. Shoot.
As I saw, I thought Winker was day to day.
No, he's marked out, so he won't be there. He might be there, but he won't be on the roster. I don't know how that works.
Helmet showed up on the IL as well, but I think, or not on the IL, but he's
on the report
day to day. Yeah,
day to day. Yeah,
the IR, the injury report.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so those are my keys. Scoring early, scoring in the first inning. It's our pitchers; they got to be on their A game, specifically Luis and Robbie Ray. So if we can score early, we give them. They're working downhill, not uphill. And then somebody in the lower names, they've got to step it up. Obviously, we need our Julios, we need our Mitch Hangers, our Ty Francis. We need those guys to ball out, but we've got to, and Cal Raleigh, he's going to do something crazy. Mm-hmm. But one other thing I'm so excited to see, Julio Rodriguez with the energy that he plays with. I can't wait to see that first at bat in the top of the first inning. The first 2 pitches he sees, if they're anywhere close to the zone, expect him to fly out of his shoes on the swings that he's taking, because he's going to go in there with everything that he's got. And I can't wait to see that. But score early, pitchers be on your A game. Somebody on the lower level, you got to step up. You got to do something crazy.
I
I like that. I mean,
Yeah.
when and Zweifel, I want to get your take on this, but you know, we've been talking trash on a lot of the bottom of the lineup lately. It's time for them to wake up. They no doubt, know what's at stake here. And by no means, they're not doing this shit on purpose, but we got to see these guys get on base. And that's in one of my three keys, but I'm going to pass it to Zweifel first.
I do want to say, the last time we did play in Toronto, a lot has changed since then. As I already mentioned, no Luis Castillo, Robbie Ray didn't travel. Andres Munoz had yet to really get into his massive groove that he's been in for what seems like the entire season. Mitch Haniger, he was on the IL. He was not playing, did not travel with us. He wouldn't have gone with us probably anyways, although we're not for sure on if he's vaccinated or whatever. It doesn't matter. Julio had 2 home runs. He had 2 home runs. And
in Toronto.
But the last time we played in Toronto, up in that point, Julio had hit 2 home runs on the season.
As I understand it, the Canadians call it Toronto, not Toronto.
Whatever. I don't care. I'm not Canadian. I'm American. So I'm going to call it Toronto.
Of course you are.
And Kelnick, he had just been demoted, and Raleigh had just been promoted. And he as well only had 2 home runs. We did not have Carlos Santana. And lastly, Steven Souza started 2 games in the outfield for us.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So
happy those days are past us.
Yes. And so, like I said, we lost the first 2 in that first series in Toronto. We won the last one. Flexen had started the first game against Yusei Kikuchi. And then we had Logan Gilbert in the second against Jose Barrios. And then Marco went in the last one against Kevin Gossman. And we got 10 hits that game. I don't know how many were off Gossman, but that's good stuff. And so lot to, food for thought there. That's a lot has changed since the last time we played there. And, I'm not taking anything away from them. I think we got this. I do.
All right. So my 3 keys to victory, and obviously you're assuming a lot of this other stuff goes well too. I mean, you can make it pretty boring and say, the starting pitching has to be really good, and then our bullpen has to be really good, and then we have to score more runs than the other team. I have one of the same keys as you do, Chris. Get the lead early in the game. That allows us to play Mariner baseball. We win these close games, these 1-run games where we can go late into the game and it's 2-2 in the 6th, but we get it off to our bullpen and then we close it out because we hold them scoreless in the late innings and then we squeeze 1 run across. We have to be able to play Mariner baseball. If we're down 4-0 early or even 2-0, you start to, clinch the bat a little harder. And then, those runs we're not a team that scores a bunch of runs anyway. So getting on a hole is probably more detrimental to a team like this than, a big bopper team that can make up those runs. It's not a huge, deficit if you get down 1-0, 2-0 early in the game, but get the lead early. I think is crucial. Number 2, the way that we win these games and, kind of our formula has been get a guy on, hit a home run, win the game, by hitting more home runs than the other team. The Blue Jays hit a lot of home runs and they're a big bashing team. And if we can win the home run race against this team, it helps us play Mariner baseball. And it also is meaning that they're not playing Toronto Blue Jays baseball. Limit the home runs and hit more home runs than the other team. I think if we look at that stat at the end of the series and we're plus, I think it bodes really well for us. And then the last key that I have, and it's pretty obvious, but you just look at these series, how they usually go. Whoever wins game 1 usually wins the series, especially if you're on the road. And then especially if you're looking at how this pitching sets up, because we're going to throw our 2 main guys, Castillo and Ray, and then they're going to come back and pretty much match us arm for arm with Alek Manoah and then Kevin Gossman. Both those guys could garner Cy Young votes. So, I mean, it's pretty much equally matched there. But if we can win game 1, that ensures us that, obviously just one more game, that you have to win and you can get it done. But really what it does is it sends that to at least we get to see a game 3 where we will have the pitching advantage with Gilbert going. And you even have George Kirby available if you need to throw him. They're going to be throwing Ross Stripling at us game 3. And Stripling has a nice ERA. I think it's below 3 on the year, but against good teams, it's a 4.6 something ERA. So he has a little bit more trouble when he's facing a good playoff team like the Mariners are. And I just think that matchup is perfect for us. If you get Gilbert against Ross Stripling to go on to play the Astros, I think that we have a good shot to win the series. But if you lose game 1 and you go down and then you're seeing Kevin Gossman the next day, it just puts a lot of pressure on the boys. Get game 1, and I think that sets us up for the most success. So 3 keys: get the lead early, win the home run race, and got to win game 1.
I agree. I think game 1 is critical. And plus, looking, it's terrible momentum when you lose game 1 and you're on the road.
Yes.
And one of the things that I'm most concerned about this series, and, we've talked about this many times, but I mean, being in Toronto, that stadium is fucking loud.
Dude, it's like
loud.
50,000 seats.
Sure.
It's crazy.
And it's in a goddamn dome. And, it's.
I believe it's called the Dome. I believe it's actually a retractable roof, though.
Well, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But
the old Rogers Center.
Yes. We don't want to give them too much to cheer about. I mean, ideally, because it's hard to bounce back when that stadium's going nuts for the Blue Jays. Because I've seen a lot of playoff, that Jose Bautista home run.
That's
really terrifying back then.
That's Julio Rodriguez's favorite home run, the one that he's watched over and over and over. Yeah, he mentioned that in an interview. It was the Jose Bautista.
Yeah, if that stadium reaches that high of decibel levels, like it's going to be screwed.
I kind of like that storyline though. What if Julio recreates that moment, but in
exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Is he gonna punch Elvis Andrus, or is Elvis Andrus gonna punch him?
You think there's gonna be fights?
No, that was.
No.
I don't think. Was that in the same game?
No.
That was like
a
mid-season game.
Yeah, no, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Texas was in the playoffs. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
All right. Max's 3 keys to the series, and perhaps the most valuable, right? Just because it's coming from my mouth. So number 1, and we've kind of touched on this, but pitching has to stay consistent. For the most part, the Mariners pitchers have an advantage over the Blue Jays pitchers. Yes, Blue Jays number 1 and number 2, they're solid pitchers. But a lot of the theme of the season this year has been a phenomenal performance by our starters and by our bullpen. My concern with this is, towards the end of the regular season stretch, we've seen, we have seen our bullpen give up a few more runs than anticipated. And we've had a poor outing here and there from folks like Castillo and Gilbert and
Swanson actually.
Swanson, so, I mean, it's important. It's critical that we stay tight in the bullpen and our starting rotation because these Blue Jays can hit, right? Number 2, get on base and move the runner up. Zweifel, to your point about winning the home run race, that's all fine and dandy, but get on base and move the runner up. None of this, 3 solo home run bullshit and then calling it a game, right?
Let me interject there because I want you to continue, obviously, but I have no problem with doing that. The thing is, in the playoffs, it's harder to manufacture runs than the regular season, just because you're facing, typically better teams who don't allow you to just, they're not going to walk you and they're not going to, give you cookies over the middle. If we win that way, totally fine. I don't care how we win. I just, I think that's the harder route, but if we can do that, I love it.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm saying is just make contact. And Santana, folks like that, they're going to be swinging for the fences, fine. But Frazier and JP, hit some line drive singles and doubles, get on base. Yes, you're right. Like, we would love some walks. It's not necessarily too likely, but that sets us up to do some real goddamn damage. Right.
And that might even play to like what Sobba was talking about. Guys like Frazier, JP.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we need our Mitches and our Suarez and Julio to be the big boppers and you know, put up the big performances. And even Cal Raleigh's another guy who's
Dude, Luis Torrens has
elevated.
been heating
Luis
up.
Torrens as well.
I am so happy.
Yeah.
When we DFA'd him after the Yankees game where he hit the walk-off and nobody picked him up and we got to keep him and he's come back up and he's been on fire.
Yeah.
He's been on fire lately.
Yeah.
Keep going, Maxwell.
My last key to the series, I would say is probably the most important, but eyes on the prize. And what I mean by that is we got to get back home. You know, everything aside, we may not be eyeing to win the series, right? We don't have the greatest odds, but let's play some damn playoff games at home in Seattle because, and I think that, you know, the team knows this. The fans deserve to watch Mariners play in mid-October at home.
Maybe your key is keep the fans in mind. You're doing it for them. Get home to your fans.
Yeah, sure. But this should be a primary motivation for the squad.
Who was it? Suarez that came out and took the mic after the last
Suarez
game?
and Julio and Ty France.
Ty got the post-game interview, and then the interview ended, and then Gino comes out, gives a message to the fans, and then Julio comes out and gives a message to the fans to see us rise. Let's go!
Yeah.
God damn it, it was puck.
Yeah.
What I know they all spoke, but didn't Suarez? Maybe the others too said the same thing, but Suarez said something about like we're coming home, we're gonna play in front of you guys or something.
Yep.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So 3 keys for Max. Pitching has to stay consistent, get on base and move the runner up, and eyes on the prize. We got to get back home. And I think with that in mind, we're unstoppable. It's going to be tough and it might not be pretty, but we've got to get it done because, you know, we've this goes without saying, we've waited too long. And yes, it's nice to be recognized as a playoff team, but you know, in my opinion, it doesn't mean a whole lot if we don't get to see the boys back in Seattle.
I agree. Getting knocked out this early would be it would just suck. It would suck. And we got to just get that first win, and it'll make everything that much easier.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Yeah, I mean, we said we wanted to avoid the number 2 spot. Here we are, though.
Here we are.
Yeah,
but our reasoning has been eliminated for why we really wanted to avoid it, and that was because of the vaccination status. However, that requirement being lifted, it nulled my main worry. It did.
I'd rather play the Indians, or obviously I'd rather be at home.
Nullified. Tomato.
No,
same shit. It's the same shit.
Tomato.
One stat I'm reading here: the Mariners' arms. We've held the Blue Jays to 3 runs per game in our 7 meetings this year. Our magic number, which we've known all year, is score 4 runs. 4 runs, and that's when we typically are winning our games. And so, you know, our numbers say we can hold them to 3. Good. Score 4, and that goes in par with what we've been seeing all year with the Seattle Mariners. So I'm just so damn excited. I mean, goddamn. Tomorrow is the city today, as you guys are listening to this, on Friday, October 7th, 2022. Seattle Mariners are going to be playing in a playoff game against the Birds, the Toronto Blue Jays. Remember, Toronto, they drink their milk out of bags. They do some other weird shit. There's a Providence in Toronto where it's illegal to yell.
Province.
So let's yell. Province. What did I say? Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah, there you go. See,
there you go. But Toronto's weird. And hey, I'm getting patriotic this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. I am getting my America on, baby. US of frickin' A. Let's go, Seattle Mariners. I do want to shout out Brendan Gostufson. He's the person I stole those stats from about the last time we played in Seattle. That was not mine. I don't want you guys to think I'm some genius. Brendan Gostufson.
Last time we played in Toronto.
From ESPN. Yeah, he had all those, you know, Luis Castillo wasn't there, Ray wasn't there, Munoz hadn't taken off, yada, yada, yada. Those are all his stats, so I can't go plagiarizing. Got to cover my ass.
Right on. Zweifel, any last words?
Yeah, Max, you've mentioned that Seawald's slider, or maybe it was Evan. Was it Evan? But Seawald's slider, he's been hanging it over the middle. I'm just saying the numbers are still good, but I was noticing that as well.
We don't want Vladdy to get a hold of one, dude. Like,
yeah, how worried are you if he's closing out a game and Vladimir Guerrero's up with a guy on base and we're only up one?
Yeah. I mean, look, we've seen Seawald fuck up to that extent. We have. And
but he's been good, but we're just saying.
He's remained consistent. I don't know. I can't really answer that because it's entirely possible. And going out, taking the bump, Raleigh or Terens or whoever is behind the dish, like,
keep that shit down.
Yeah, you got to lock that shit down. I mean, if you're gonna miss in the dirt.
All right. Well, we're going to be counting on the bullpen. So
that's right.
Seawald, Castillo, Los Bomberos, Munoz could be elevated to even. I would like to see Munoz out there in the 8th over Castillo. And we have seen that, but I mean, I think it's really time to put your best pitcher out there. And I know Seawald is he's probably the guy that they're most confident in, but something about me just feels that coming, like a hanging slider that just I don't want to see that happen.
Yeah. Well, boys, the time has come to watch our Mariners play in October. Listening at home, if you got to work, have it up on the side. If that's not even possible, sucks. Yeah. Well, exactly. If you're not able to even watch it, just have the game cast up or some shit.
Figure it out.
Yeah,
for everybody who made the trip to Toronto that's listening to this, go you. Be there, be loud. Let the boys know that you're there.
Yeah. All I can say to finish off, ladies and gentlemen, keep the faith. I mean, that's just it. Keep the faith. I don't know. There's not much else we can do.
All I can say, boys, is keep the faith.
Jesus, you are getting me electrified right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everyone else is already electrified. But listen,
you're like Trevor Lawrence trying to hype his team up. Did you see that video?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was just sad. I don't know why you like the Jags so much. Listen, this has been an emergency podcast. Thank you for listening. We'll be back at you on Sunday after the series concludes. Hopefully we'll have some good news for you. And a lot of fun stuff to talk about, but watch the game. And as always, thank you for listening. Let us know in the comments what you think your keys to the game are, that anything that we missed. That'd be a lot of fun. But listen, it's playoff time. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Go Mariners.
Ken Griffey swing the crowd to one run. Ken Griffey is a swinger, not a singer, a deaf rhyme bringer, a home run hitter, but I'm not a dope slinger. For those who try to flex, I'm a quick neck ringer. For those who think the rhyme is wiggity whack, I'm a sting ya. The G, the R, the I, the F, the F, the E, the Y. See, I'm 6'3" and rough, so why try to step to number 24, cooling in the flat? You get cracked with a baseball bat. Yeah, one likes the bat and the other likes to battle. One from Cincinnati and the other from Seattle. Griffey's batting average is 3.00, and the kid is undefeated with a dozen KOs. We swing for a hobby to keep your head bobby, or bust a couple of rhymes in the hotel lobby. I'm stepping away from the mic, the ECP is in the house. Turning it over to Griff, go ahead and run your mouth. Goes 2 for the bass and 1 for the treble. Griffey's gonna take the party to another level. When I swing, I bring bass like an earthquake. I either make the home run or make the house shake. Writing the kind of rhymes that you just can't get with. My homie Kit making the beats as funky as an armpit. Take the beat and get dope, but not crack. I mean the kind of dope that's far from whack.